All right, so hi, I'm Anya Nielsen, and I chose to read the book Three Little Words by Ashley Rhodes Corder. Just really quickly before I start with the presentation, I wanted to kind of share my opinion on the book, and I don't know, I really liked it. I do like to read, and I love like a true story. The book was definitely an emotional one, and yeah, I don't know, I really enjoyed it. So, the overview of the book, I'm kind of gonna give, I just have like bullet points that kind of give a little bit of a summary of the book. Obviously, not every single thing that happened, but the things that I felt were kind of the most important. So, started off with Ashley and her brother Luke. They enter the foster care system after their parents get arrested. So their mother, Lorraine, was a teenage mother, and as she, is leaving her kids or getting taken away, she makes the empty promise to them that they will live with her again. And Ashley and Luke were very little. Ashley was, I think, around 3 years old, and Luke was even younger. So, they believe her, no doubt. After that, they move through a couple foster families, and then they are placed with their biological grandfather and his partner, Adele. While it's good for them to be with their family, their grandfather is also not a dependable guardian, just like, their mother, and he tends to get drunk and abusive. Not long after that, he is also arrested and for drunk driving. And although Adele, his partner, was a very kind and loving woman, and she fought to keep the children, they were returned to the system. Ashley and Luke are then returned to Adele, and they are finally, pretty decently happy and comfortable. But this doesn't last long either, and once again, they are returned to the system. So at this point, we're kind of seeing a pattern here in these kids' lives. Ashley and Luke move around a few homes without the other always being uprooted, and then they are moved to a new home together. Their new foster parents at this home are Mr. and Mrs. Moss, and they are extremely abusive to not only Ashley and Luke, but all of the other children that are living under their care. Although, unfortunately, the couple always finds a way to pass investigations. Ashley is very vocal about the abuse that is going on in the home. But since the couple always is passing their investigations, Ashley is not believed, and then she is moved to a children's shelter after being taken from the Mosses for lying to her caseworker and trying to kind of sabotage the couple. After this, Ashley and Luke are reunited again with a new family. And then the kids are introduced to Mary Miller, who helps terminate Lorian's parental rights and makes them like officially orphans, which was a super big step in the book. Although Ashley is very, she really still wants to, hold on to the hope that her mother is the right parent for her, as many kids in the system do. You want to be with your mom. So that was definitely a big step, becoming an official orphan. After this, they are moved to a children's home in Tampa, and they are each matched with families who want to adopt them. So different families, which was kind of sad. Phil and Gay Corder, her Ashley's adoptive parents, they stay with her through bad times and good times. And so Ashley begins to let go of the idea that her birth mother is the best parent for her. She does a few things that could have ended really badly, and maybe in the past, if she had done those things, she would have just been immediately shipped off. But the Corters loved her and wanted to stick it out with her, and so through time she is able to trust them, and she finally is able to feel comfortable in a home, which is a huge deal. After this, Ashley speaks up even more, and she plays a part in Mrs. Moss's arrest. This was very important to her, and she worked really hard for this. I think just knowing that, she was helping make sure that what happened to her in that home did not happen to other kids. So that was pretty cool. And Ashley gets her happy ending with her loving and supportive adoptive parents. And this does not stop her from speaking out and making a difference for those who are going through what her brother had to go through what her and her brother had to go through to get to where they are now. She also, I feel like it's important to mention that she, stays in touch with her birth mother and, gets to have that relationship in some sort of way, even though she is not her legal guardian. So that was pretty cool as well. Connections to, from the book and social work as in general. So the book and social work, the author provides a lot of insight in the overwhelmed system that is foster care, since social workers can work in child welfare, foster care, and adoptions. This book is extremely eye-opening to what the children, we could be working with might have experienced. I've always been interested in social work and children, and maybe making a difference in putting kids with families who are safe for them. I grew up with very supportive parents, and I think it'd be really cool to be able to help other kids get to experience that. So it was definitely very eye-opening to me in so many ways. It also shows just how important social workers are and how much of an impact you can have on someone's life, whether it's positively or negatively. I think throughout the book we kind of see social workers who, are there for the children and do make a positive difference in their life. And then we also kind of see some, on the other hand, people that didn't believe Ashley and her brother, or I don't know, maybe just didn't do everything they could to help them out. And since many social workers have not experienced being in the system themselves, reading about other people's experiences, like the authors, can help build empathy, which I know we've discussed is a huge part of being a social worker, is being empathetic and, learning to listen and to understand what others are feeling, even if you haven't felt what they're feeling. And the book also shows how hard being in the system is, both emotionally and physically, and how things are not always what they seem in so many aspects. I think it touches a lot on how a lot of things can be going on behind closed doors, and just in general, you don't always know the full story, and I think that is super common in social work. This book did a great job of it, but there's also, plenty of TV shows and other books and other articles of people kind of sharing the abuse that they faced in the foster system, which I think is so sad, because once you are already taken from your family for it being, an unsafe situation, I think that is hard in its own, and at least you can maybe expect to get into a situation that is safer and happier for you, although it isn't your blood family or birth family. And so when children are kind of taken from everything that they know, and then just put into, another unsafe situation, I personally can't even imagine what that must feel like. And then last but not least, although many bad things do happen, the possibility of there being a happy ending is great, and is why social workers do what they do. At least for me, I think, although maybe things don't always work out exactly how, we may want them to, even just the possibility of a happy ending for somebody, that's just like enough to kind of want to do the work. So, yep. Social work values. So, values seen in the book. I just kind of chose a couple. Obviously there's so many values that we have discussed and so many in the code of ethics and stuff, but these were some that kind of stood out to me. So the first one is importance of human relationships. Social workers need to make an effort to understand the importance of the relationships their clients have. We see this in the book when Ashley and Luke prefer to stay together, and even though they aren't always together and they don't even really end up together, it's important as a social worker to do what you can to keep those healthy relationships together. It was also crucial for the social workers to understand that while Ashley was tied to her birth mom and wanted that connection so badly, it was best for her and everyone else that if she was not her legal guardian, but they also had to understand that that connection was very important to her despite what her mother had done to her. So again, I feel like, doing what you can to just keep those relationships in their life. Ashley decided to, want to reconnect with her mother, and, instead of holding her back from doing that, she was able to do it and kind of form a healthier relationship with her, which I think was a pretty big deal in her life, and I feel like she was really grateful for that. And then the other ones that I kind of thought were important in the book were just service and social justice. I wrote that social workers need to commit to providing service and calling out social injustices. I don't know, I think we see this a lot throughout the book, but we also don't really see it as there was abuse going on and it was not being addressed maybe the way that it should have been. It is the responsibility of the workers to do everything they can to take kids out of unsafe situations, and not only that, they need to provide them with safe homes after that, which I kind of talked about earlier. Being taken out of one unsafe situation and put into another unsafe situation, I don't really think is doing a whole ton of service. So, while this is not always possible, and obviously, like, you can be easily deceived, just as, the couple in the book were able to kind of put on a show for their investigations. I think it's just important to not ignore things that you're told, so that what happened to Ashley doesn't happen to others. While she was able to get out of that and eventually justice was served, and the woman was arrested, and she got to speak her part. It took years for that to actually happen. And I mean, if you think about all the children that faced abuse, waiting for that justice to be served, it's pretty sad. So yeah, just making sure that you're listening. And I think a big part of just like social work in general, I think we always say, believe the victim. And so if someone's saying that they're being abused, I think it's important to listen to that. And I think that, yeah, that is everything. Yeah, I really enjoyed the book, and I do recommend it just for anyone that is, looking to go into kind of this field of social work. I really liked it. Yeah, thank you for listening.